Yeah, good morning.
We are joined by Commissioner Firstner. If you will please do an audio check.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much. And Commissioner Ramos. Commissioner Ramos, if you can hear me, please unmute and do an audio check. And while he's doing that, we're joined by Miles O'Keefe from Links. Miles, if you can please unmute and do an audio check for us.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey, good morning, Miles. Thank you. So we are now live streaming and we're prepared to move forward, Mr. Chair.
All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this hybrid Metroplan Orlando MAC meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. My name is Keith Trace, and I'll be chairing the meeting today. We also have a team of folks working to ensure this meeting runs smoothly. The committee members joining us online will participate in the discussion and vote on action items. We'll ask you to mute and unmute your microphone when not speaking and use the raise hand feature on your Zoom toolbar. The public will be able to participate virtually and in person as well. Now it's time for the Pledge of Allegiance. Today I'll ask Mayor Hinson to lead us in the pledge. All right, thank you very much. At today's meeting, we'll keep our microphones muted unless you have been recognized to speak, and members online can use the raised hands feature. We're going to say that about 4 times today. I do ask that all committee members activate your microphone before speaking and then turn them back off when you are complete. As a reminder, the microphone is turned on and off by pressing the blue button, the one with the little talking face on it located on the screen in front of you. It's the one in the middle. There are 2 public comment points in the meeting. Members of the public participating virtually who want to speak can use the raise hands feature, or if attending by phone, they can use the *9 feature to request to be recognized. We also accepted comments via email and phone message before the meeting. The guidelines for those public comments are posted on metroplanorlando.org/virtual meetings. We want this and all future meetings to be accessible to all. Participants may join by computer, tablet, phone. If you need accommodations to participate in the future, please contact Metroplan Orlando. At this time, I'd like to recognize Mr. Alex Trugger of Metroplan Orlando staff for his agenda review.
Great. Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, members, both here in the room and online. As the chairman mentioned, this is a hybrid meeting. So in this format, we do need a physical quorum of 5 to move forward with action items. And the benefit of that this hybrid format is those participating online are marked as present and also are able to participate in those action items. So as we move forward with all of our MAC meetings in 2022, those RSVPs are really important, and we'll talk about that a little later on in the agenda. But as we come here and meet in person, we do urge everyone to be cautious and do what they believe is necessary to stay safe. So, we do ask everyone to be considerate of one another. And if you do have any concerns, please let me know. In front of you, as a token of our appreciation to you, you have a 2022, the annual Metroplan annual calendar for the year 2022. So this is a tradition we've had for many years now, and we're going to continue that with a little note from Gary, our executive director, But again, you can pencil in all of our MAC meetings and all of your other municipal public service events and keep that with you. So that's in front of you. As it relates to the printed agenda, we do have one casting change today. Anna Taylor will be representing Rakenia Henson for the Florida Department of Transportation. Other than that, a minor change in our next meeting, which we'll talk about later as well. The printed agenda that went out before the meeting had February 3rd, 2021 as the date. Obviously, that's passed. It's February 3rd, 2022. So we have made that update in the agenda, reposted it to our website. So that correction has been made. With that, there are no other changes to the printed agenda, and we'll now move forward with the attendance.
Good morning. Ask all committee members online to unmute yourselves for the roll call, while those in the room keep microphones off until called. Online participants, please make sure your video is on if possible so that we can confirm it's you. You'll find the unmute and video buttons on your Zoom screen. Please say here or present when your name is called. Anderson.
Here.
Anselmo.
Here.
Cole. Dowless.
Here.
Firstner.
Here.
Foraker. Henson.
Here.
McCann.
Here.
O'Brien. Ramos.
Present.
Sladek. Smith.
Here.
Trace.
Here.
Madam, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, we do have a quorum.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We will now hear public comments on action items. Do we have anyone that would like to speak on any action items? If so, please use the raise hand function on your screen or press *9 on your phone keypad. When we call your name, the host will unmute your microphone. You will see a button that pops up and says the host wants to unmute you. Please accept that prompt to activate your microphone. We ask that you provide your name and address for the record, and please hold comments to 2 minutes.
We have Miss Joanne Canellis on with her hand up on the attendees side.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm Joanne Canellis. It's my address is 324 Claremont Road, Lake Mary, Florida, 32746. Yeah, we need 24 hours bus and train service, and we need the bus from on the South Country Club Road from the train station to Seminole State College. You know where that is, because I showed one driver once before last year. And we need to have the bus over at the Oviedo Boulevard by the Aquatic Center and Recreation Aquatic Center and Gymnasium. You know where that is too. That's Oviedo Boulevard, next to the bowling alley. That I used to be there. Was a big bus. I need a bus back there, please. If you can still keep the little bus, but we need the big bus so I don't have to walk home like this. Okay. And thank you very much. That way, no one would be stranded in case some other person might swim with the buses too and stuff like that. Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Canellis.
And we need the bus train over at the airport, and the Orlando in the next airport, and one that beyond Oviedo, above, not Oviedo, but the D-Land. Yeah, that's it, D-Land. Please, thank you. In the high school here in Central Florida, so that we don't get stranded either. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Canellis. We will get those comments over to Links. We have a representative on the meeting today. All right. Are there any other public comments for for the record?
I have not received any.
All right, and were any written comments received before the meeting?
None.
Okay, thank you. Up next, we will hear from our agency partners, FDOT and Florida's Turnpike. Will be making presentations later on the agenda, so if they would like to defer their comments till then, that is perfectly fine. Today, we have Ms. Taylor from FDOT.
Yeah, I'll defer my comments for the work program presentation. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you. Mr. Miles O'Keefe is here from Links. Mr. O'Keefe.
Good morning, everyone. As always, we appreciate Joanne's comments, so I'll be sure to relay those, Joanne, rest assured. From our end, just last month, we held we were the host of the American Public Transportation Association, APTA, their first post initial COVID national conference at the Orange County Convention Center. Many staff members volunteered in addition to attending some of the sessions there. So we feel very happy with what the outcome was. The APTA representatives were very pleased with the role we played in quickly pulling together this conference. It was initially scheduled to be held in California. So with about 4 months of time, we helped them make it a reality here. You could say they were so pleased that they'll be back here in October of 2023 for the same conference. So overall, we're very happy that we were able to be a part of that event. Switching gears, December 12th, we have our next service change. This will actually be the most substantive service change we've had since really the Great Recession. So we're very excited to be bringing forth these service enhancements. In particular, more direct service between downtown and the Disney property, given the number of employees and the increasing number of guests that we have in the region traveling. Next, we're working on our annual report, the National Transit Database. That's always due at the end of January. Feeds into a lot of our auditing, just double checking all the data, the reporting from this past fiscal year. Those values are then used to help calculate the formula funding we receive, or one-time funding, such as any kind of stimulus fundings that have come through recently, factors into any new infrastructure bills as well. So very important for us to get that in and make sure it properly reflects all that we're doing here in Central Florida in terms of service provision. And then just lastly, want to make sure that we wish each and all of you a happy holidays and a happy new year. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. O'Keefe. Do any of our members online and in person have any questions? All right, thank you. Up next, we have Florida Turnpike Enterprise. Mr. Seosi.
No additional comments. The Turnpike is wrapping up the work program presentations that we have. I think our final ones are to District 5 and District 1, or MPOs in District 5 and District 1. And that's under my report.
All right, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions? Any online? All right. Up next, we have 3 action items today. The first item is approval of the minutes from our November 4th meeting, which are on tab 1 of your agenda packets. I hope everyone had a chance to review them. Are there any corrections or revisions that need to be brought to staff's attention? All right.
Motion to approve is presented.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I heard Slavic first. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, minutes pass unanimously. Up next, our next item is an amendment to the 2045 MTP. This is found on tab 2 of your agendas. Mr. Alex Trauger from Metropolitan Orlando staff will present this item. If you could please hold your questions until the presentation is finished. Mr. Trauger, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here to present another amendment to the 2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. But this one here this month is for an off-system complete streets project that was actually made possible by the I-4 Ultimate reconstruction project. The materials, or as described, I guess, in the materials found at tab 2 of your agenda packets. This amendment is for the Hicks Avenue Extension Project, which is located in the Griffin Park community of the city of Orlando. So that's in the Paramore area. This project was originally intended to be constructed as part of the I-4 project and within the I-4 concessionaires agreement. But based on some, other circumstances, it's now going to be constructed as a standalone project. And because of that, this MTP amendment is required. This project, or the preliminary phases of this project, were advanced by the city of Orlando, and it has been vetted through the Paramore Community Engagement Council. So with that, on the behalf of FDOT, we are requesting your approval today of this amendment to the 2045 plan. I can answer as many questions as I can, but we are looking for a motion and your support today. Thank you.
All right, does anyone have any questions for Mr. Charter? All right, do I have a motion to approve the amendment to the 2045 MTP?
So moved.
Approval. Second.
All right, a motion and a second. This is a voice vote. All committee members online, please unmute your microphones. For those in the room, please speak out loud. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item passes unanimously. Our final action item today is an amendment to the TIP. And this information is found in tab 3 of your agendas. Mr. Keith Caskey with Metropolitan Orlando staff will present this item. Take it away.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. This amendment this morning includes a total of 12 projects, and 7 of these projects involve the use of the American Rescue Plan Act federal stimulus funds that were discussed in the FDOT presentation that you had at your last meeting. And these include 4 interchange improvements on I-4 at State Road 528 and State Road 535 in Orange County, and at County Road 46A and US 1792 in Seminole County. And then there are 3 resurfacing and safety projects in Orange County on State Road 436, Conway Road, and on Washington Street. And on that last project, there is a correction in the letter from FDOT. It said that the project on State Road 526 was on Robinson Street, but it's actually Washington Street since it's west of I-4. And we did make that correction to the resolution and so on. And then there are 5 other projects. We have the Hicks Avenue extension that you all just heard about with the MTP amendment. There's the I-4 single express lane from State Road 536 to Darrell Carter Parkway. And then Links is receiving funding to provide transportation services for the Opportunity Center in Osceola County. And then there's a railroad crossing project in Orlando and a radar sensor project on John Young Parkway. And you all have the information on this in tab 3 in your packets. So with that, unless there's any questions, we're asking for your approval of the amendment.
All right, well, does anyone have any questions for?
Just for clarification, all of these are funded out of ARPA, is that correct? Except for the Hicks one?
No, there are 7 that are funded with ARPA funds.
Okay.
4 I-4 interchange projects and then the 3 safety projects.
Got it.
The rest are funded with other funds.
But a majority of the funds out of this amendment are all ARPA funds, right? All right, are there any other questions, either in person or online? All right, seeing none, do I hear a motion to approve this amendment?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like side? All right, item passes unanimously. Thank you very much. We have 2 presentations today. Participants online, please use the raise hand function and you will be recognized to ask questions. You may raise your hand during the presentation, but we will hold questions until the end. Participants in the room, please stand your nameplate on end. Okay. To signify that you wish to ask a question. First presentation is on FDOT's new tentative 5-year work program. Ms. Alexander from FDOT will be presenting today. All right, you have the floor.
There we go. Okay, that should be better. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate the opportunity to be here to discuss FDOT's District 5 tentative work program. Just to make sure, somebody else clicking or should I? No. Should it? Okay, we can go on to the slide, the next slide. Okay. Should be 2 slides in. Okay. Sounds good. All right, I'll just continue through and then we can catch up. The first ones are really informational and you'll see them when they come on. So what is the tentative work program? The tentative work program is a listing of transportation projects that we have coming up for the upcoming 5 years. In this case, we're representing fiscal years 23 through 27. Those are the 5 years that are built into our tentative work program at this time. The type of projects that you see in our tentative work program could be bike, ped improvements, as well as roadway structures, improvements, capacity, seaport, spaceport, airport type of improvements, as well as transit modal and any of that sort. The activities that are represented within the tentative work program includes preliminary engineering, planning, design, construction, right-of-way, as well as any transportation management systems and operation projects. Now, FDOT is not the lead agency. Back one slide, please. Thank you. So FDOT is not the lead agency for aviation, seaport, spaceport, or transfer projects. However, these projects are included in the district's tentative work program, as some of those grants are managed through the district. So each district develops their tentative work program based on the priorities that are identified for the district, the regional need, and collaboration coordination with our local partners. And that includes the agencies, MPOs, TPOs, stakeholders. Each district compiles all the regional needs and develops their tentative work program. And then all the districts combine theirs to become the statewide tentative work program, which goes through a formal process of review and approval and becomes adopted the following year, July 1st of the following year. We manage the work program on a year-to-year basis based on fiscal years. So in the case of this tentative work program, I mentioned 23 is the first year. That actually runs July 1st of 22 until June 30th of 23. What you see here in this slide is the process that we go through for developing the tentative work program. I mentioned currently we're under the fiscal year 22 to 26. That is the adopted work program, which went into effect July 1st of this year. It's a 5-year listing. Like I mentioned, the first year is also known as the lockdown, and it's set that way for budgetary purposes. So any changes to that first year may require administrative approval through Tallahassee. July 1st is also the date that we embark upon developing the tentative of the next upcoming 5. So what happens is, and if you would just click once, the first year project is completed. All the years shift over to the left. And if you click again, then we have a new 5th year. So this now is the tentative work program, which represents fiscal years 23 through 27. Again, that process begins July 1st. And through the later half of the years where we're in the process of putting the plan together, doing all the coordination, collaboration, identifying all the needs. That information is also balanced against any budgetary, any projected revenues, as well as allocations that the district receives. And we have to meet statutory program requirements and targets as well. So a lot goes into building the tentative work program, and there's a formal review process, like I mentioned, that goes into place. So it is still subject to change until it is adopted on July 1st of the next year. And if you would just click again. What you see here, bless you. What you see here are the actual activities that take us through the process of adoption, development and adoption. We started in July. That's when we also received the project priority list from our local partners, MPOs and TPOs. Extensive coordination happens with a lot of the agencies. We start putting the plans together against what our district needs are again, and the program areas that we have. Examples of that would be like our maintenance, our structures maintenance and pavement rehabilitation, some of the needs that are identified to the different units of the department. All of that is compiled so that we can start generating the 5-year work program. One key activity that happens is the Florida Revenue Estimating Conference. The reason why that is crucial is because it is the information that we receive from the conference that helps support our tentative 5-year work program in terms of funding. As a result of the revenue conference, we're able to assess what the needs are against available funding allocations and what program areas and targets we're required to meet. Once that information is put together, we wrap up the tentative work program. This year, this happened October 15th. We held the virtual work program public hearing the last week of October, and there was comment period with a deadline for comments November 12th, and then there was the deadline for MPO objections November 19th. So that's all in the past. Moving forward, what we have now is we actually enter into the formal review and approval of the tentative work program. There's a lot of fiscal and administrative reviews that happen to it. All of the district work programs are compiled. They're being reviewed by the Secretary of Transportation. They'll be submitted to the governor, and they'll also be reviewed by the Florida Transportation Commission through a public hearing, which is yet to be scheduled. We also have the Florida state legislation that reviews the tentative work program, and that legislation session begins January 11th and it runs through March 11th. At that point, then we have pretty much wrapped up a lot of the reviews, and then it gets submitted to the executive office for formal approval and adoption July 1st of next year. So as you can see, there's a lot of opportunities there for reviews and questions. So like I mentioned, it is still subject to change until it's adopted next year. All right, the next slide. Just looking at it specifically to the counties that we have within Metro Plan, we have Orange, Osceola, and Seminole. Here's a total of breakdown for each of those years for each of the counties. You can see you have a totals for each of the year along the gray at the bottom, and then the total across the 5 years to the left. In Orange County, $1.1 billion. You see Osceola, it's about $286 million that we have programmed in the upcoming 5. For Seminole County, we have about $162 million that are programmed in the upcoming 5 years. So the total there is over $1.6 billion for this region. Next slide. If we break this down further into the different type of projects, this is an overall 5-year total. Safety, again, also break down Orange, Osceola, and Seminole, but you can see there's almost $133 million. This is being afforded for safety. This could be interchange improvements. This could be corridor improvements, turn lanes, complete streets, roundabouts, any of those projects of that sort. Capacity and widening projects across the board, over $348 million. And this would be widenings and any new interchanges.
Little thing. On this, what does preservation exactly mean?
Preservation would be like our resurfacing of our lanes or roadways. It could also be structures. It could be maintenance of the structures as well.
Okay, thank you.
That's actually one of the very first priorities when we build the tentative. We have to go through and make sure that we are preserving our assets. All right. So preservation, you see almost $162 million there across the 3 counties. Multimodal, and this includes transit, aviation, and rail. And what you see there is a total of 731, well, and some extra change, I guess you could say, across the 3 counties. Operations, and this could be signal upgrades, intelligent transportation systems or ITS, ATMS, and other operational improvements for our roadways, smarter roadways.
I've got one question. Back to the multimodal. You said aviation, which kind of surprised me. What does that include?
You have the airport. There's actually some significant funding that's going towards the Orlando International, Orlando Sanford, and as well as the Kissimmee Airport. So it could be capital improvements maybe that they're doing. All right, so I think we were in operations, and you see there it's about $56 million across the 3 counties. Then we have bike ped, sidewalks, bike and trails, about $46 million. And that I will have to confirm, but I think that would be a different fund source. I will have to confirm that and let you know. I'm not certain on that one. Do you know? No. Okay. No, it doesn't seem to be. All right. And then last we have miscellaneous, this is our catch-all. These are some other items that include maintenance, isolated maintenance items, maybe planning studies, landscape, or facility improvements. And that has a total of $139 million for those. We do have a total of 22 priority projects that are programmed within the upcoming 5 years. And you can see that total there of over almost 316 and a half. All right, so that's a summary of the breakdown. Just some key projects I'll mention. There's quite a few, obviously, looking at the numbers and the dollar values, but some major ones that we want to cover if you want to go ahead and click. We have I-4 managed lanes. We have top 2 are in Orange County, and then the bottom one is in Seminole County. We have the right-of-way funding for 242484-8. That is scheduled program 23 through 26 for a total of almost 114 million. We have 242484-7, which is another segment of I-4 that has design funded in 23 and then right-of-way funding in 23 and 24 for almost $12 million. And then in the northern eastern section, Seminole County, I-4, we have design funded in 25 with right-of-way funding 23, 24, and 26 for over $32 million represented in the work program. Next, we'll be looking at capacity projects, and these are both in Osceola. On the left-hand side, you have US 1792 John Young Parkway from Pleasant Hill Road to Portage Street. The right-of-way is funded and is represented in the tentative 5-year for fiscal years 23 to 27 for almost $46.5 million. And then on the right-hand side, we see US 17 from County Road 54 to West Point Sienna Boulevard. Here we have design funded in fiscal year 26, and that's $7 million. Next, some bike and pedestrian projects. Both of these are representative of Orange County. These are local agency programs, or also is known as LAP. On the left-hand side, we have Little Econ Trail Phase 3. Right-of-way is funded in 24 and construction is funded in 26. And it's about $11 million for that effort. And then on the right-hand side, we have Shingle Creek Kirkman Road from Old Winter Garden Road to Raleigh Street. And this is construction in 25. And that represents $2.2 million. And that is also a LAP project, City of Orlando. Next, multimodal. Here we have on the left-hand side, this is Transportation Systems Management and Operations Priority number 2 for Orange County. This is also a local agency project with the City of Orlando. Here we have the UPS expansion phase 1. So this is basically upgrading or improvement of the equipment, uninterruptible power supply. Construction for that is funded in fiscal year 24. And then on the right-hand side for Seminole County, we see a complete streets project improvement to East Church Avenue from Ronald Reagan Boulevard to 1792. The construction for that is funded in 25. That is also a local agency project, LAB. Next slide, we have another couple of complete streets. On here, we have a left-hand side in Osceola County. This would be Benaventura Boulevard from Florida Parkway to East Osceola Parkway. We have design funded in 23 with construction in 25. If I'm not mistaken, I think there's a slight typo on this slide. We'll have to correct that. The funding on that is actually $1.5 million. And then on the right-hand side, we see Seminole County, and this would be in the Winter Park Drive from Red Bud Lane to State Road 434. We have design for that programmed in fiscal year 26 for short of $1 million. Also a local agency project is with the City of Castleberry. All right, next slide. We have some advances that were made in the work program. I mentioned, we talked about preservation and having to maintain a resurfacing. Resurfacing lane mile targets is something that is required by all the districts. This is a project that was advanced in Osceola County for that purpose. The construction was advanced from 24 to 23. So I moved up a year so we can meet our lane mile targets for that resurfacing. Next slide. Actually, I think there's, yep. The next one is our deferrals. And what you see here are projects that were deferred. They remained within the 5-year, however. So what we try to do is minimize their movements, that they are deferrals because they're no longer where they were originally. We have State Road 50, and this would be from east of Old Cheney Highway to Chuluota. That was deferred from fiscal year 24 to 27. Then we have Orange County 239422, the State Road 434, Forest City Road. This was construction was deferred from 23 to 27. That was so we can balance some of the available funding that we had. Then we had 437131-1. This was State Road 50, US 1792 from Irvington Avenue to Maguire Boulevard for drainage improvements. This was actually one where they needed to go back and assess exactly what the right of way is needed. So that's why that was deferred. So they can do some further investigation on the right of way on that. On the right-hand side, we see another Orange County, this 445691-1. Construction was just deferred a year based on availability of funding, and it went from 23 to 24. And then we have Orange County State Road 500 or Clarkona Ocoee Road. The construction on that was deferred from 23 to 26, also based on available funding. Next slide, we have deletions. And administrative, they are called deletions, but actually most of them were requests that were made to go ahead and cancel the projects. We had 3 of those. What you see there for Orange County. It was requested that we remove the project by the county and the MPO. And the same thing for 444645-1, as well as 446894-1. So those were requests to eliminate those projects. And then on the right-hand side, we see reassignments.
Budget reasons or the groups behind them no longer want them, or why do they get the?
It could be, it's a possibility. Let me see if I have the reason for them. There's probably, it could be I don't have it exactly on me, but we can find out exactly. It would be maybe the project is no longer needed, or maybe there was items that were advanced on the project or scope change. It could be different reasons. I don't have the specific reason, but we can find out.
Is there a specific project you were looking at?
Yeah, Rouse Road University. That's the
It must have gotten rolled into another project or something. But if we can get that.
We can
answer.
confirm. We'll confirm. We'll actually get the justification for each one of those. So that way you have it. All right, and then on the right-hand side, what you see, these are actually reassignments. What happens is the district has a continuing services contract that we extend to our local agencies where we can manage the design as well as the CEI construction inspection, engineering inspection, and that's what happened with these projects. Technically, the project is still moving forward. That effort is just being managed now by the continuing services contract that the district has. And that's very similar to the next slide that we see for Osceola and Seminole for most of those. For this one here on the top one, 437932-1, that one was actually where the design was deleted and it was reassigned under a separate project. So that again also is a reassignment. And the net on one underneath the Shingle Creek, that was a representation where we moved it over to the continuing services contract. For Seminole County, it was the same thing, 439064-1. The project is still moving forward, but it's moving forward with the continuing services contract. And then 448738-1 is one that the construction was requested to be removed by the county and the MPO. And we'll find out the reason for that. Or I don't know if maybe Metropolitan, any idea? No, no worries. No worries. Orange Boulevard, 448738-1, State Road 46 to Monroe Road.
Yeah, that was removed by the request of Seminole County because of the right of way purchasing would have made it difficult to get federal funds.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Appreciate it.
That was actually going to be in advance.
It's not totally going away. Seminole County is advancing it themselves with local funds because the makeup of Orange Boulevard had so many small parcels. It made it more costly to go through the federalization process to get the construction funds. So we found it cheaper actually to go local process. So that's why we pulled it out.
Thanks, Nick. All right. No questions? Okay. And then the last slide is this one. This one is a project that we did have to move out. This was the further east section of State Road 50 in Orange County. It's from Julietta Road to 520. And the construction moved out from 25, and it's now sitting outside of the 5-year, unfortunately, because of limited funding. So, and that concludes the presentation for District 5's tentative work program. I will just reference, if you haven't checked out the website, the information is all available, still left over from our virtual work program public hearing in October. And I'll go ahead and entertain any questions you might have.
All right, does anyone have any questions in person, any online?
I have one
There are no hands raised online, Mr. Chairman.
I have just one question, just going back to the Fairbanks or 529 push out or delay or deferral, I guess is the name of it. And I have to apologize, but is my team and my staff, are they all apprised of these kinds of deferrals proactively or noticed, or is this the notification to Winter Park that it's being deferred?
It's
Time of year is the notice of these deferrals, deletions, variations.
Okay.
But through the TAC or any of those committees?
Presentation that's being made today.
Okay.
We made to say,
So there's no contact or advanced communication with our planning director in Winter Park that this project is being deferred.
if there must, wait, let me go back to the project specifically. Let me see. It was in Winter Park.
Might have just said Orange.
And this is my first term, so I'm just wanting to make sure I'm clear. If my
This is-
responsibility is here to lobby for my project, then
Yeah, Mayor, what
then
was
I'll
the
start
project?
lobbying.
What was the project in question?
Yeah, do you recall which was the FM number? Is that-
445691-1.
Okay, 445691, construction deferred 23 to 20 based on availability of funding. Yeah, so that one would have been one that we would have had to, this would be the formal notification of the fact that it was being deferred. And at some point there will be contact made to make sure that you're aware of it. This is the formal notification though, because it was due to available funding. So we had to shift it out a year.
So can I make an amendment to the motion to reinstate that project, or is that something that happens? I don't like deferring it. Let me just be blunt.
Yeah.
And deferral, I know is a very strong word. Sometimes what ends up happening is the funding is limited to that year. I will say that deferral from one year to another could be a matter of months. So,
Okay.
you know, we switch over from one fiscal year to another. It happens June 30th, July 1st. That you could say it's a deferral. If it was planned for June and it went to July, that's a deferral of 1 year. So it could be possible that we didn't have funding available for 23 when we had it. So we park it in 24, which means that we could go, that project could be let as early as possible in 24.
So, but if there may be projects that we've advanced, and so if we wanted to take something out that has been advanced to reinstate something that's deferred, is that something that we can ask for?
In terms of advanced, because we don't normally do advancements. What we try to do is limit advancements if we have deferrals. Basically, it's a matter of deferring and keeping the projects already planned and making a priority on which projects have the capability to be deferred and keeping the ones that we already have in the 5-year.
Great.
And all these future projects are all based on their projection of funds as well. So sometimes as we get closer to that 23, 24, 25, more funds come in. So they pull projects forward again.
Right. I just know that if there are things that are advanced and there's things that are deferred, then there's been a decision made to take money from one thing to put it into something else. And I'm just saying that I'm fighting for Fairbanks. So what do I need to do to fight for Fairbanks?
Understood. What we do try, just to give you some of the logic, what we do when we face those, when we have those kind of decisions that we have to make of whether to defer a project, there's really not something that we bring in if we know we're deferring. There's a lot of extensive discussion as to the reason why to defer, and we try to minimize that. In this one, it was just deferred a year, so it would be just a matter of the money having the money available in 1 year versus the other.
Ms. Taylor, do you have any?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and the advancements could be certain funding types became available that maybe this project didn't qualify for. So I think we just need to go back and take a look at it. And if there's some extra follow-up we can do with the city, we can absolutely work with the MPO and the city to try to figure out
Great.
how to move it forward. But at this point, I think we probably would need to go back and look at those details.
That'd be great.
But like they said, we're just balancing against our revenues based on what was available, based on what was submitted to the department, doing our best trying to move the projects forward.
I just know that we've budgeted significant city funds in our 5-year plan for the north-south version of 1792 that includes this intersection. And I just want to make sure that our team at the city is aware of how these are being coordinated together.
Yeah, absolutely. We can go back and we can get that coordination done.
I made a note on it and we'll go
And
back.
if you could send it
specifically.
to the city manager and myself, that would be great.
I made a note. Thank you.
Thank you.
Earlier question.
Okay, yeah, to the mayor's earlier question, we're coming to a meeting and told the deletion's already happening in his case. Is there a time frame where he would be able to have the notice, and this really goes for all of us, to where he could formally object other than the minutes of the meeting, so that he has an opportunity to have a voice at the time where the decision was made for the deletion? Because this is happening kind of after the fact that now he gets a chance to make his voice heard now that he understands there's a deletion happening versus being able to advocate ahead of time to what you just shared. Can we work together? We have a 5-year plan. You want to delete this? We have funds. Maybe we can work together and not delete it. But instead the news comes out at the meeting and we're kind of reeling from it. So just seeing an opportunity to maybe communicate this a little differently.
So to follow up on that, there is extensive coordination with, the MPO and your cities and your technical staff throughout the process of developing the work program. Kathy alluded to some of those steps we take prior to getting to today. We do have that formal comment period. We try to let you guys know that the week of the public hearing that's going to be taking place when we're looking for comments. We do get formal objections from the MPO as well. But like Kathy explained today, this is a tentative work program. This is all still subject to be approved by the legislature. So to think that, what you're seeing today is signed in blood, there's still some processes left. So if there's conversations that need to be had and we can try to address those in, over the next couple of months during the legislative session, we can do that. And like the chair also mentioned, there could be opportunities should funds arise throughout the year where we do have projects like yours that are ready to go that could be advanced. And we always do look at the projects we deferred normally first to see how we can put them back on track. So I think there's a lot of moving parts here. Today is your official presentation of the work program specific to your area, but there's still time. This is,
Okay.
This isn't done.
So I'll just make sure that our city manager and Sarah are fully engaged. All right.
Yeah, and we can work together with our leadership and the MPO to get something together and have that formal conversation.
Great, thank
And
you.
some of that may have been coordinated too. We'll have to go back and look at this one specifically, but definitely when we're looking at deferrals, there's the discussion. It's like, where is that project and what is the coordination that has taken place? And we have been notified, hey, there's the potential that we haven't confirmed X, Y, or Z, and that's been coordinated with the local agency.
Great.
So there could be some already preceding communication that has happened.
So this isn't an action item for us today. This is merely a report. Is that correct?
That is correct. It's a status update.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Just to add to it, I do get emails from FDOT in advance for any of these changes. So they are proactively sending it out to staff. And we have the technical advisory committee. They're meeting Friday, tomorrow. And they communicate back and forth and communicate with FDOT, even outside of those meetings, to get more support or whatever it is. So I'm sure that's going on, but I get your point.
No,
I'd fight for Fairbanks too.
I
Yeah.
assume that that's going on. And this is the first time that I've actually caught a street number that I've recognized.
Yeah.
So it's an important street number to me.
And is that one of those that Orange County kind of makes that decision? Or is it the city has the say in that?
We would have to go back and look and see at the funding on this one. I'll be honest with you. I have to go back and look and see what the, what the decision is on it, as to
Because you might want to
who has the jurisdiction on it.
lobby there as well.
Pretty sure this is the turning lane extensions that have been in the plans for a while. That's the main thing that I want. We'll engage on. But I think to the other mayor's point, this is not something we're approving or have to get into the to reject to. This is just accepting the report and it's something to think about. Great, thank you.
And just for a point of information, that is an FDOT project, the intersection of two state roads.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying, depending on the funding, I'd have to look at it and see exactly, who's managing it and the reason behind it, so.
Maybe my hunger is getting a destiny. We all want to get from Millstone to Glass. Right, from the new library a little faster, right, Mayor?
And I want to make it easy for you.
Here, here.
And then do we, with session starting, do we have any forecasts on funding being higher, lower than we anticipate through some of these plans?
Well, I will say that the revenues that we received were better than anticipated. So what was used to build this tentative work program was definitely a lot better than the room that we were thinking coming out of the pandemic, but definitely not where we were at prior to, which is why you're still seeing some of the impacts of having to balance the tentative 5 with movement of projects across years. Hopefully, maybe the next revenue estimating conference will give us much better numbers. But there's things that are in the works right now. We have the infrastructure bill that's coming that we know that there's going to be federal funding. We just don't know what that's going to be for Florida or what the caveat is on those. That's going to give us opportunity to bring projects as well. So I couldn't tell you specifically, yes, this is going to be better for the next one. We're certainly looking forward to that.
Okay, and if we could, there was one of the slides that had the spending split by county, and I know Orange County has a lot more population than Seminole and Osceola, but huge disparity in some of these. So hopefully we can get some of those kind of more in line with the population breakdown or however else we're measuring those fundings. So are there any other questions in person or online? All right, thank you, Ms. Alexander.
Thank you so much.
All right, our next presentation is on the Florida Turnpike Enterprises Work Program. Mr. Fine will be presenting today.
And while this is coming up, can I just ask all members, just given that we are recording the meeting, please turn on your microphones before you speak.
Good morning, committee members. My name is Siausi Fine, and I am the MPO liaison for the Florida Turnpike Enterprise. Thank you for the opportunity to present the Turnpike's tentative work program for fiscal years 2023 through fiscal year 2027. In Osceola, Orange, and Seminole counties, the Turnpike is proposing to fund $1.19 billion in major projects. Included in your agendas is the work program summary, which is a blue document. It's similar to this. Which is a blue document that highlights the Turnpike's major projects, minor projects, current construction projects, and upcoming PD&E and design efforts for all of FDOT District 5. Next slide, please. Florida's Turnpike system consists of limited access facilities and provides Florida's residents and visitors with a safe, efficient, and affordable means of travel. Turnpike facilities are located in 6 FDOT districts in 19 counties. In Osceola, Orange, and Seminole counties, we have the Turnpike Main Line, the Western Beltway, the Southern Connector, the Beachline Expressway East, and the Beachline Expressway West, and the Seminole Expressway. Next slide, please. The Turnpike's mission is to help meet the state's growing transportation needs, ensuring value to customers, protecting investors, and managing the Turnpike system in a business-like manner. With that mission in mind, the projects I will discuss today support the Department of Transportation's vital few core areas, which are improving safety, enhancing mobility, and inspiring innovation. Next slide. This slide illustrates how the Florida's Turnpike receives revenues and processes expenditures. Revenue is collected through user tolls and concessions at our service plazas. We do not receive any revenue from gas taxes or any other taxes. According to our bond covenants, the Turnpike must first pay for operations and maintenance costs. These include costs to collect and process toll payments. Then we must pay off debt on the bonds issued to construct major projects. It should be noted that due to our high credit rating, the Turnpike has historically benefited from some of the lowest borrowing costs in the toll industry. After that, we invest revenue into renewal and replacement, such as resurfacing projects or other recurring improvement costs. Finally, the Turnpike uses the remaining funds to pay for capital improvements, such as widenings or interchanges. Next slide. The Turnpike has various ways of determining how projects get funded depending on the type of project. All our projects must demonstrate a transportation need and are prioritized accordingly. Widening and interchange projects are ranked in priority through an annual effort that looks at observed traffic data and future projections across the entire system. Expansion projects must meet environmental and economic feasibility as part of the prioritization process. Of course, stakeholder input is very important and is considered throughout the project development process. Next slide. With that being said, the major projects in Osceola County programmed in the Turnpike's tentative work program are a newly added resurfacing project on the surface, the southern connector from milepost 0 to milepost 4. The next project is a widening project of the Turnpike main line from Parton Settlement Road to north of Osceola Parkway with construction funds in fiscal year 2023 through fiscal year 2024 and fiscal year 2026. A newly added widening project on the Turnpike main line from US 192 to Parton Settlement Road with interchange improvements at US 192. Construction funds are programmed in fiscal year 26. And the final project on this slide is a widening project of the Turnpike main line from milepost 239 to milepost 242 with the construction of a new full interchange at Nolte Road. Design build funds are programmed in fiscal year 2024 and fiscal year 2026. Next slide, please. Continuing in Osceola County, there is the Canoe Creek Service Plaza parking improvements with construction funds in fiscal year 2026. A resurfacing project on the Turnpike main line from milepost 227 to milepost 235. A resurfacing project on the Turnpike main line from milepost 198.5 to milepost 207. Next slide. The major projects in Orange County programmed in the Turnpike's tentative work program are a newly added interchange improvement project on the Beachline Expressway West at John Young Parkway with construction funds in fiscal year 26. The construction of a new interchange on the Turnpike main line at Sand Lake Road. So for this project, construction funds were deferred from fiscal year 23 and 24 to fiscal years 24 and 26 to allow for right-of-way acquisition related to the relocation of FGT pipelines. And the final project on the slide is a newly added interchange improvement project on the Turnpike main line at the Beachline Expressway West and US 1792 441 with construction funds in fiscal year 27. Next slide. A newly added construction, so still in Orange County, a newly added construction project of an interchange on the Turnpike main line at Taft Island Road with construction funds in fiscal year 27. A newly added resurfacing project of the southern connector from milepost 4 to milepost 6 And that last project that you see in that rectangle, you'll actually won't see that in the work program summary. That's because this project, which is the construction of a new interchange on the Beachline Expressway East at Voltaire Drive. This project had right-of-way funds in our adopted work program. And the right-of-way funds were moved out of the 5-year work program to allow for additional analysis and reconsideration of interchange alternatives. Okay, and next slide, please. The major projects in Seminole County programmed in the Turnpike's tentative work program are a newly added resurfacing of the Seminole Expressway from milepost 50 to milepost 55. And the last project on this slide is a widening project of the Seminole Expressway from Aloma Avenue to State Road 434 with interchange improvements at Aloma Avenue, Red Bug Lake Road, and State Road 434. This project has design build funds that are programmed in fiscal year 2024. Next slide. And this final project, so this project actually goes between the Orange and Brevard County line. And it is a newly added ITS or Intelligent Transportation Systems Improvement Project on the Beachline Expressway East with construction funds in fiscal year 2024. Next slide, please. For more information on all the projects in the Turnpike Center Work Program, you can visit the new FDOT Work Program Public Hearing website and download the FDOT District 5 Public Hearing Report. Turnpike projects in Osceola, Orange, and Seminole counties can be found in this document. Thank you, and if there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them now.
Oh, raise your hand. I like it. Mr. Fourier.
In advance, thanks, Chair. Good morning. Thank you for your presentation. On the last slide, you had $24.5 million for the intelligent systems upgrade near the Brevard and Orange County line. What does that entail? What kind of intelligence gets improved on? Or the system? What is that?
I would actually have to get more information on this. This project was actually added to the tentative work program, and it's something brand new. It's but from what I understand, it's more like sensors and preparing for connected and autonomous vehicles. But I'll get more information on what's actually going on.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else in the room have any questions? Anyone online?
There are no raised hands online, Mr. Chairman.
I don't exactly have a question, but it's just an interesting bit of math that I couldn't resist doing just now. And it is that in Oviedo, my husband commutes down right here every day. So to commute and pay tolls, it's $875 a year for him to commute. But the amount that we pay in city taxes is $875, which your business model, it works. And I just thank you for making a road that actually pays for itself.
All right, and I have one question. On the Osceola side, you guys are widening part of the main line, and then there was the Nolte Road interchange improvement, and there was a gap in between. It looks like that gap in between was added back in with construction in 2026. So we still have a time disparity between an interchange improvement, the main line above it, and then the gap in between.
So for those projects were actually realigned based on how long it would take to finalize those projects. And they'll actually all be opening up all together all at once.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Any other questions for Mr. Fine? Turnpike. All right. Thank you very much. All right. There are several items in your agenda packet under General Information tab 5 that includes FDOT's monthly construction status report, the 2022 approved meeting schedule, as well as some other items. And then at this time, do we have any committee members that would like to make any final comments? All right. And then if any members of the public wish to make any further comments, please use the raise hand function and you will be recognized, or dial the *9 on your phone keypad. We will unmute your mic, and after you're recognized, please state your name and address for the record.
Ms.
Any
Joanne
more-
Canellis is on the attendee side to make a comment.
All right, Ms. Canellis?
Sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this is Joanne Canal. It's the same address, like 324 Claremont Road, Lake Florida, 32746. Yes, we wanted to get, I forgot to tell you about, that we need this bus and train every half hour all day long so that no one would be stranded, including holidays, weekends, nighttime too, so that no one would be stranded like that, coming home like that. Because I've been hearing those reports in Seminole County that they keep skipping Seminole, like long way when they try to go off on a train to go back home and stuff. And the bus too, they keep saying that the bus didn't take them home sometimes, that they had to walk home like I do. Every Saturday when I come home from church, and by 7 o'clock or after, I had to walk all the way from Seminole State College to my house. Or if I don't get the bus where I wanted, then I would have to walk on the Lake Mary Boulevard, which is not good at all. I did that twice, and I didn't like it. I did it twice since I came back to Lake Mary. Walking home on Lake Mary Boulevard to the house I'm in now. Okay. That's why we need 24 hours bus and train service, including holidays, we need nighttime and holidays, weekends, and nighttime, so that no one would be stranded like I did. Okay? Please. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Canellis, we will take that comment back to Sunrail and Lynx. Any other questions or comments in person or online? All right, thank you very much. Our upcoming meetings of interest, our next MAC meeting will be February 3rd, 2022. Our February meeting is scheduled to take place in person fully with no virtual option for MAC members. And then although we will be monitoring the situation, Metropolitan Orlando staff will send out a confirmation relating to the meeting format in January. But our next meeting is in February. So, we will get some feedback in January.
Yeah, we will confirm the meeting format, whether it will be in person or continue the hybrid format that we have today.
All right.
So we'll be following up after the first of the year. Thank you.
Perfect. And then the next Metro Plan Orlando board meeting is next week. Wrong date is in here. Next week on December 8th. And then does anyone else have anything for their order? All right. At this time, if there is no further business, we stand adjourned. Thank you.